This is Portside Perspectives, exploring the yacht economy.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Portside Perspectives. I'm here today speaking with Saxon Cwalinski of Smallwoods Yachtwear. So this isn't the typical interview that I do, but I'm finding that the yacht world and the yacht economy, as I've been calling it lately, touches a lot of different businesses and a lot of different people. And Saxon here is involved, like I said, with Smallwoods Yachtwear, and they supply uniforms, and you also sell just casual clothing to the public as well, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, first of all, thanks for having me, Jason. I'm excited to be doing this with you. Yeah, there's so much to the yachting economy, as you just mentioned. But yes, Smallwood specifically is geared towards selling crew uniforms to the super yachts around the world. Then if there's anyone in the general public who wants to look the part, absolutely, we can help them too. We have our brick and mortar storefront here on 17th Street in Fort Lauderdale.
But is it like just uniforms, or is there like casual like deckwear that you guys sell as well?
Yeah, definitely. So it is more geared towards the uniform side of things, but those two categories, especially recently, have really started to blend. I mean, everything is, performance material, really, comfortable, functional. So while it looks sharp, it's really comfortable to wear, and yeah, anyone can find use for it. So it really falls into both categories there.
Okay, cool. So I guess like I was on your website and I was just kind of looking at it, and I'm like, I thought he said uniforms, but then I'm looking at it. So there's, oh no, it looks like there's casual wear for,
Yeah,
on the deck as well. But that's cool.
yeah, I'll
Okay,
take it as a compliment. Yeah, for
yeah,
sure.
it's a nice looking website. You guys have done a good job.
Hey,
Um,
thank you.
so why don't you maybe tell me a bit about yourself and your background? How did you get into this? What brought you to where you are now? Like, how did you fall into this world?
Yeah, definitely. I'd love to. So, Smallwoods Yachtwear was started in 1981 by my mom, actually. So, it's a
Oh,
family business. Yeah, so I'm the director of sales here. My brother Hunter is the director of operations. Hunter's been here full time for close to 11 years. I'm creeping up on 6 years now that I've been back here. Before this, I was working at a few different sales jobs in New York. Just really saw the opportunity here, so wanted to come back and join the company. My mom started it. She's always had a really an interest in fashion and in clothing and design and all that stuff. And my granddad was actually one of the people who founded Bradford Marina. He was a president there. So that's one of the oldest shipyards in South Florida. So really, deep roots in the yachting industry here. Aside just a passion for it and a love for the whole, yachting world. Um, After being here for a few years, the reason why I've stayed and I've fallen in love with it even more is because of the people that we get to work with. Our customer base is just incredible. We're working with the coolest people around the world. So that's really how I wound up here. We now have the office in Fort Lauderdale, which is our headquarters. Then we have an office in Antibes that was opened up in like 2005, and then Barcelona in 2013. So those are our three locations now, and I spend my time going between the three offices.
oh, right on. Cool.
Yeah.
Um, I had a question right on the tip of my tongue. What the heck happened to it? Um, yeah, okay. So, that's what it was. I was going to ask you, so do you actually get out on vessels and enjoy the time on deck very often?
Yeah, so anytime that I get invited by a client to actually come on the boat, I jump on the opportunity. I think it's so cool. It's not as common as I would like.
Hmm.
We definitely fall more into, we're a service provider. We're by no means a client or a broker or anything like that. So while we do have really good relationships with our clients, the people we work with, our job is to get them what they need as quickly as easy as possible and then get out of their way so they can keep a job going. But at like boat shows and stuff, if I do get to go on board, I always love it. I think it's so cool.
Speaking of boat shows, were you just at the Fort Lauderdale International Boat Show?
Yeah, we were there. It was I think it's gonna prove to be a really good show. It always takes a few months to see how everything shakes out. But when we talked to everyone we wanted to talk to, the conversations we had were great. The brand is really well received. It's hard, and this sounds conceited, but it's hard to find a boat now in the industry that hasn't heard of Smallwoods. We've been the industry leader in providing crew uniforms for, nearly 45 years now. So having that is a really good foundation. But we've had our ups and downs like every company has. But right now there's, just a really good sentiment and overall feeling around Smallwoods in the industry, which is really, really cool.
That's cool. So speaking of that, do you have many competitors out there supplying uniforms like you guys supply?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So there's a couple main ones that are our competitors around the world. There's one here in Fort Lauderdale and another one out of the UK that I'd consider our biggest competitors. We do stand out from them quite a bit. It's one of those things. We're selling t-shirts, polos, pants, like nothing really that proprietary. While our fabrics are fantastic, our designs, are based around the functionality and feedback from crew. Anyone can supply pants and t-shirts. So what makes us stand out is our customer service. And that sounds cliche, but it's true. This is the uniform ordering process for these crews is something that can be quite cumbersome. So we really view ourselves as their uniform partner. They come to us with what they need and we stay with them every step of the way to make sure that they can focus on the more important tasks. We'll take care of everything behind the scenes. You just tell us what you need. And that's what really makes us stand out from our competition. So yes, there is competition, but no one like Smallwoods, that's for sure.
Well, that's kind of why I got you on here. You could puff yourself up a little bit. It's okay to brag.
Definitely, yeah. Give me a platform to talk about how great we are. I'll do it, man. I love
Right.
it.
Awesome. Okay, so well, let's kind of get into the business itself then. Like so you said it was started in 81, you said?
Yep.
And your mom started it. Is she still involved in the company?
She is, man. She is. She's still here every day. I love working with her. She's, taught me everything I know about, being a sales director as well as the industry. So yeah, she's still very much involved on both the sales, the managing the business, and still heavily involved in the design aspect of it as well.
And do you regularly come up with like new designs and new products that are like, is it a big turnover of your products, or you kind of stick with what's working and kind of give me a
Yeah,
sense of how you roll with
yeah, that's a
that?
great question. It's a fine line because everyone wants something new and different, but everyone wants to still be able to order what they had last season so they don't have to do a completely new program. So
Right.
we try to come out with one new line, one new piece per year, which is not a ton for a fashion company. And the tweaks that we make to our line are based mostly around the functionality of it. So if there's an updated fabric that we can use or a different, pocket or different measurement, but it could still work with previous orders, that's what we're doing. But yeah, we try to do like at least one new item every year.
Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of getting the sense that, like you mentioned, that a lot of people, it's hard to find people who haven't heard of you.
Right.
Not to say that you've cornered the entire market or anything
Right,
like
of
that.
course.
But if you're that large, if you don't mind my asking, and
Yeah.
feel free to say that's none of your business, but
Yeah.
um, like roughly how big are you? Give me a sense, like you're like how much revenue would you say you guys are doing annually? Like just to give us a sense of like how big you actually are.
Yeah, definitely. So as far as the dollars and cents in revenue, I'd have to defer that to my brother, the director of operations. I'm in a very fortunate position where I just have to sell and get people to like us. I leave all the nitty and gritty to him. What I can
Okay.
say is that our database right now has close to 10,000 boats in it that we regularly hit and service and work with. So that ranges from boats that are, 50 feet up to 500 feet.
Right.
Uh,
So,
we
so
don't
the average orders you're getting for each vessel is going to change because of crew sizes, but
exactly.
average somewhere in the middle of that, how many uniforms would come in an order for one vessel
Yeah.
across that 10,000 people?
Yeah, definitely. So, again, like you said, it depends on the size of the boat and it depends on the program itself. Generally speaking, if we're doing a new program for a new build or someone that needs everything top to bottom, we're looking at between $1,500 and $3,500 per crew member. So, you get up into these bigger ones who have 30 crew rotational. And it can add up quick. I mean, some of these boats, they have budgets close to $500,000 for their uniform launches. So
Wow,
they're
that's
spending money.
mind
Yeah.
blowing to me.
It's
Holy cow. I mean, I can
crazy.
understand it when you start thinking about the larger vessels and the amount of crew that they have. And you also have
Yeah.
rotating crew because they're going to be, people need days off
Yep.
so you can have some pretty large crews. And how much would you say per crew member is the average cost of a uniform?
So if for everything top to bottom, if we're doing, day, night, on, off charter, usually between 1,500 and 3,500, is
Per
what I tell people,
per
but
crew
it can
member.
vary. Yeah, per crew
I
member.
understand that. I mean, it varies because, but like you said, top to bottom, you have day wear, night wear, warm,
Yeah.
cold wear, things like that.
Yeah.
And so obviously it's going to be a range, but that, wow. I mean, I'm very impressed with the sort of business that you're. I'm glad I brought you on because it's just another link in the chain of this yacht economy that we keep talking about. And like I said
Yeah.
to you before we started recording, that this podcast is kind of finding its legs here. And um, I'm branching into talking to more companies that are not dealing in the yachts themselves specifically, but like your company, we're talking about just being connected to that world and the amount of jobs and money that is generated from one super yacht being built from build to sale to
It's incredible.
it's crazy and it is mind
Yeah.
blowing how
Yeah.
far this economy reaches, how many tables it feeds across
Exactly.
the
It's
world.
it's so impressive, and I love thinking about it. And you're the first person who really has described it to me as its own economy, and that's the perfect way to describe it. I mean, thinking it like you just said, from like the top and all these different. I sell the polos, but there's someone who's selling the cushions, and there's someone who's selling the windows, and there's someone who's selling the heads, and then what is spans on each of those people have, lawn people or take their families out to dinner. It's just incredible what this industry supports and provides all of us. It's really cool.
Yeah, so I mean, it is an economy, and I can't think of a better way to describe it.
Right.
And it hasn't stopped impressing me yet, and I hope to find more yacht adjacent companies like yourself and what
Yeah.
Smallwoods does. Not necessarily another uniform manufacturer, but companies like that are connected to this world. And I just find
Definitely.
it fascinating again how much money is generated from one vessel. Like,
It's incredible.
yeah,
It's incredible. Yeah, I'm excited to follow along and see who else you speak with because yeah, I mean, even just the different events that I went to over the Fort Lauderdale show, the International Superyacht Society, they had like a members breakfast, and then I went to a Seakeepers founders event. But all the different businesses that are there, it's really impressive. It's really impressive.
yeah. Um, okay, so speaking of, I mean, the whole industry and the world of yachts, are there
Mhm.
any? I mean, you said you've kind of been in this for the last 6 years within the company, right?
Full time, yeah,
Over
exactly.
those 6 years, or I mean, you've been connected to it through your family and all of that. So, are there any trends or things that you've noticed, whether that's, I mean, being in the fashion industry, things that people are leaning to fashion wise, or are there trends that are coming and go, like the up and down of your sales? Like, is it kind of like, does it fall in line with the amount of boats that are being sold and rented and stuff? Because other people I've talked to, it's very clear that like during COVID,
Mhm.
sales went through the roof, way
Mhm.
way higher than what they normally would, and now we're coming down to kind of where back to where near where they probably should be right now. So, uh,
Right.
I mean, feel free to expand on what I just asked there, whether you want to focus on
Yeah.
the fashion trend or if you want to focus on the sales trends up
Yeah,
and down, or a little bit of both. Feel free.
definitely. Definitely. Yeah, I'm happy to speak on both. Yeah, COVID was a obviously across globally, but in this industry, it was weird. Everyone paused and then everyone just kept right on spending. I mean, there's no better place to quarantine than on your yacht. So yeah, very fortunate in that sense that, it was definitely a tough time for us, but we made it out on the other side. Now, since COVID, At the beginning of usually at the end of every year, I make my sales projections for the following year down to the individual, team member, their monthly goals, and I base it off of the seasons that we have in years prior. Our busy seasons are typically in the spring leading up to summer and in the fall leading up to the winter. So imagine when everyone's going to be using their boats, the time just before that, that's when we're busy because we're getting the crews ready.
Right.
That's how it's been for the entirety of the company. Since COVID, you can throw seasons out the window. Where we've been traditionally super busy, we've been dead. And when we've been dead, we've been super busy. The company's been doing well, but it's a roller coaster. It's a roller coaster, and you really just have to roll with the punches and be able to help your customers whenever they need it. But yeah, it's been, as far as find or the trends as in on the sales side of it, it's been really interesting. It's been really difficult as a director of sales trying to make a plan for next year for the company because it's so all over the place. Luckily, the industry is still growing and people are still spending money. Um, it's one of those things. If our clients, if the people who own these boats, if they stop spending money, we were screwed a long time ago. So it's we're all fortunate to be part of such a, knock on wood, strong and resilient industry, if you will.
Right.
That's good.
Um, I actually want to come back to the question about the fashion, but we're on
Yeah.
this right now. It's another thing I ask a lot of people because this is something that has changed in the world, changed the world is the internet. And it's
Yeah.
changing the world faster and faster every day in one specific way. It's creating more millionaires and billionaires that have ever existed in the past.
Yep.
And so I always ask, when I'm speaking to a broker, like, do you notice that there's more sales happening, more boats are being demanded because there's more millionaires and billionaires that are looking to get into this sort of thing? Um,
hmm
or is it just that the demographics are changing and that you're having a whole lot more younger people coming
That's
into
it.
this world, right?
That's it exactly. Yeah, I was gonna say I haven't really noticed like, oh my God, there's so many more boats this year. But what has been happening over the past couple of years is that the age of the people that are, buying or chartering these boats are getting lower and lower. This is a good reminder for myself to, never judge a book by its cover, but this was earlier this year. I had someone in the store, looking for just like a few pieces, but very average looking person, was about my age. And it was towards the end of the day, and I was kind of just like, okay, like this is what like this is these are our options, and we're still being polite and helping him. And I was like, all right, so like, what's your position on board? And he was like, oh, I'm the owner. And he couldn't have been older than 35, and it was like a 120-foot boat, and it was just like, okay, well that makes me hate myself, but that's awesome. Awesome for you. But we are seeing more and more young people who are fortunate enough to be in the position to either own or charter, which is pretty cool.
Right. Okay. So then back to the trends related to fashion. Is there anything that, as a fashion
Yeah.
designer, that you guys are seeing and leaning towards? Is there trends that people kind of want to see in the fashion and the way things look?
Definitely, definitely. So everything is moving towards the athleisure type wear. So the Lululemons, the Aloe, the Viore, all that really comfortable, technically workout clothing, but people are wearing it all the time now. They want that feel and comfort within their uniform program. The tricky part is the people who want that, are, the younger people that are actually working on board. And then, even though I just said there's much more younger owners, still the vast majority are, people of a certain age, and a lot of them are more conservative. So they want their crew to still look really sharp and polished. So it's trying to be able to create a piece that still looks classy, still looks high end, but has the feel of the Lululemon and the comfort and the functionality. And that's where, Smallwoods has done a really good job of. The other uniform companies, you'll see some crazy stuff, some, bedazzled pieces of clothing, some really short skirts, some, really just, yes, modern fashion forward, but that's not our sole goal. We still want to be able to maintain the classiness that is expected for these crews. So yeah.
Yeah, and you go look on your website, which is smallwoods.com, by the way, for anybody who is interested to go check out your guys' collection. But it's professional, it's
Mhm.
clean, but it's as you scroll through, you do see it, like I kind of noticed like a lot of that athletic kind of type of uniform. Um, newer materials that we have out nowadays, stretchiness and comfortability and
Yeah.
all that. So I get it. I understand. But I also get what you're saying about, like, the older clients that kind of want that traditional uniform look. Like,
Yeah.
you're a captain of a vessel, you better look like a captain. Um,
Yeah.
but
Exactly.
I mean, I get it. Like, it's you're trying to, and good on you guys for not getting too crazy into the
Yeah. And
like you said, bedazzled and
yeah.
getting too wild
Yeah.
with it.
Exactly. We still want to, and it's also another maybe more personal factor of it, but it's my family's name that's on the back of, all these pieces of clothing. So I take it very personally about what's out there and how the company is represented. And, we want to be proud of every single piece that we make.
Right.
That being said, if a new boat comes to us, which we've had, and they say, we want a completely hot pink custom shorts, skirts. I mean, we've done lavender uniforms. We have done pink, fire engine red. At the end of the day, if
You'll
that's what
do
you
it.
want,
You'll do whatever they want.
we'll
Yeah.
make it happen. We'll
Yeah.
make it happen. But as far as our core pieces, we always gonna, hold ourselves to a certain standard there.
Right. Well, that's cool. So here's a question then. Um, you manufacture all your clothing, you design it, and you manufacture. Do you have your own warehouse, or not warehouses, manufacturing facilities? Do you contract that out? How does that work?
Yeah, good question. So we have our own Smallwoods line of products. That's our everything you can see on the website. Our shorts, skirts, pants, blouses, all of that with the Smallwoods label, we do manufacture. We don't own the manufacturing facilities, but we're partnered with them. We've worked with them for a long time. All of our pieces are manufactured in Brazil and Colombia
Oh, cool.
for a number of reasons, but not to use a buzzword that's thrown around all the time, but primarily based around sustainability and factories that have ethical work practices, as are obviously really important to us. Yeah, so then we have the factories in Brazil and Colombia, and then for
That
anything,
was going to be my next question, was where are your factories?
yeah,
Because
which that's an
I was
interesting
expecting
aspect.
China, but no, I'm glad to hear that it's not China, to be honest.
Yeah, no, we've been in those countries for quite a bit of time now. It's been interesting the past year or so with the different tariffs and trying to keep up, just like everyone's trying to keep up with that. But yeah, we're really happy with the factories that we work with and the quality of product that they put out.
Right. Cool. Um, so we've kind of gone over, what you guys do, how big your company is, who you serve. Obviously, is I mean, maybe you can clarify that a little bit. Obviously, you're dealing with larger vessels and super yachts and things like that, but
Yep.
are you dealing with smaller and smaller vessels as well that have a much smaller crew?
We are, of course. We're love all, serve all. I mean, we'll sell to some guy who owns a 20-foot center console and wants to get some hats made for a trip to the Bahamas. Happy to work with him too. And the craziest thing is sometimes someone will come in who has a 20, 30-foot boat and they'll drop $10,000 on swag for giveaways. There's stuff they want to do. Yes, so we'll do everything from personal vessels up through we've done cruise ships in the past. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
But our bread
Pretty
and
pretty
butter,
diverse. Yeah, I mean,
yeah,
sorry, go ahead. Your bread and butter is probably those bigger cruise
the
ships.
big ones. Yeah, I would say like 100 to 300 footers. Those are like the main people that we're servicing.
Yeah, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a lot of crew on those vessels, and so I mean, just outside of cruise ships and yachts and things like that, are there other maybe commercial vessels that you guys suit up as well?
Yeah, we have in the past. We have in the past for sure. There becomes um a difficulty in selling to like the really big cruise ships because there's uniform companies like Cintas or some other ones that are massive and they can sell pants for, you know, $10, $15 a short. Obviously, the quality is not there, but a lot of those really big programs, they're not looking for, you know, the Lululemon of shorts for their crew. It's more of an
Right.
industrial thing.
Yeah,
So
they just need to put clothes on the crew and
exactly, exactly. So where we have found, you know, some diversification in our portfolio, if you will, we do private airplanes, like the cruise on there we do a lot of, as well as resorts. So
you said
um,
airplanes. Oh yeah.
airplanes. Yeah, and the funniest thing that we've learned is a lot of the boats that we work with, if they own a boat of a certain size, there's a really good chance that they also own a plane of a certain size.
I
And
guess
whether
so.
it's yeah, and whether it's the same crew or they just have a different crew for the plane, it's all the same thing, looking sharp and having functional pieces. So
So
having
is that something that it's a fairly big part of your business, or is it more just kind of the odd order that comes through from
yeah, it's definitely it's a smaller part for sure. It's a
is
smaller
that
part.
is that something you would like the company to break into more, or you're happy kind of sticking with the ship
Definitely,
world?
definitely. Yeah, I would love to. I would love to do more airlines. Or airplanes rather. They typically have smaller crews, like of one or two people,
Right.
so the sale value isn't necessarily there. But yeah, I just
But
think
if
it's
you
cool.
get hooked up with an airline, yeah, they might have 6, 7 crew members on a plane, but they have
Yeah,
hundreds and hundreds of planes.
right, right. So that's been a goal of mine for a long time. That would be great. That would be so cool to be able to do something like that. Them and then the resorts as well,
Oh
which are
yeah, that's a I
yeah.
yeah, I never would have, but you're right.
Yeah, well, and most of the resorts that we service, they're the like smaller boutique hotels. I mean, still decent sized hotels, but it's not like Hilton or anything like
Yeah.
that. But picture South Florida or throughout the islands or any place that has, you know, a tropical or water aspect to it, whether there's outside restaurants or pool staff or anything like that. It's all the same requirements that the crews have on yachts. You know, like I keep saying, the functionality, but still looking good.
Right, right. I mean, looking again on your website at some of the uniforms that you have, I could easily see someone in a resort walking around serving drinks
Yeah,
or serving tables, or I mean, even maid services. Look
yeah,
professional, and a lot of resorts they have uniforms, and it's interesting. I never would have thought even to think about that,
yeah,
but when you actually
yeah.
probably put your head to it, you probably think of a lot of businesses that require uniforms
It,
of that
it
sort, right?
yeah, it takes nothing for me to spin out. I mean, I look out my office window, every single person that goes by is wearing a t-shirt. I'm like, I could sell them that t-shirt. So yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
there's a
yeah.
couple of different verticals that you
So,
can spin.
so speaking on that, then what is your guys's, some of your marketing strategies? How do you not only reach out more and try and get more business through the yachting and on water vessel community, but even out into airlines or airplanes or resorts? Like, is it a different strategy for each one? Probably, but maybe you can expand on that.
Yeah, yeah, it's interesting and something that's constantly evolving too. Uh, Going back to what I mentioned earlier about how, you know, Smallwoods is a household name in the yachting industry. Most of our new business still is via, you know, referrals or just because they've heard of us. It's inbound. And that's how it's been for a long time at Smallwoods. That is slowly changing though, not because of a different perception of the company, but like you mentioned earlier, everything can be done online. There's a million options out there, even if it's not a yachtwear uniform specific company. People, you know, can get a polo from you just Google custom polos and there's a ton of different options. So now our marketing and making sure we're getting in front of the right people and being able to properly explain our value is becoming more important than ever. Still to this day, there's nothing better than being in person. That's why the boat shows are so valuable. Going out and doing dock walking, doing these different events, partnering with different marinas is so crucial to what we're doing because we get that face to face, you know, interaction with our customers.
That's another trend I'm hearing across the board in the yacht economy, as we're kind of calling it.
Yeah.
Uh, it's a very, very personal face-to-face kind of industry, and the people that whether you're buying a vessel or whatever, it seems to be that it's I want to see the person that I'm dealing with face to face, and and I suppose you would when you're making orders for larger vessels to crew to to put uniforms on an entire crew of a cruise ship or something like that. You're probably spending hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars
Yeah.
regularly, because uniforms need to be replaced as they get worn out or wrecked or stained or whatever.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, everything, most people I've been talking to, whether, like I said, it's a broker or whoever, it's a very personal kind of industry.
It is. It really is. And I think I think there's a main reason for that in my eyes. In all the other sales jobs I've had, there's a bunch of different selling techniques that you can use. I firmly believe that people buy from three types of people. They either buy from people like themselves, people that they want to be like, or people that they just like in general. The biggest driving factor that I found, which is unique in this industry, is that our clientele, they're not spending their own money. They're spending the owner's money. They have a budget for this. So there's not that emotional attachment to the dollar value. They understand what they can spend, and they're respectful and they're smart with it, but it's not, being debited from their bank account.
Mm-hmm.
So taking that aspect out of the sale, who are they going to buy from? They're going to buy from people that they like. That's who they want to spend time with. There is a lot of back and forth in what we do. So they want to, have that time spent with someone that they enjoy, being around or conversing with. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where that face to face, really comes in handy. And God, we get so many. We were talking about today on the sales floor how many sales emails we get a day and spam calls we get now. It's honestly, it's getting to the point where if I get an email that I can tell is a sales email and from the subject line, I don't even open it. And I know that Smallwoods would fall into that same category if we're emailing other people as well. So how do we stand out? That's by that face to face. That's where those relationships really, really come in handy.
Right. I'm sure you're utilizing some digital marketing strategies. Are you doing
Yeah.
any like paid advertising on like Google or Facebook or anything at all like that?
Yeah, definitely. So we have we do pay for Google Ads, and then we have a social media company that runs our Instagram um, and Facebook, both just at Smallwoods Yachtwear, if anyone wants to
Mm-hmm.
check them out. And we are seeing a lot of wins from those as well, and that's really within the last couple of years because it's been a learning curve for us as well to not be able to solely rely on word of mouth or people knowing who we are. That doesn't cut it anymore. So we've been
Well,
doing.
I mean, that's the way, again, we talked about it earlier. The internet has changed a lot of different things, good, bad, ugly, whatever. It's changing the
Right.
world. And, technology, even now, again, I talk about this to everybody. The AI situation that's coming out, it's gonna revolutionize things again on a
It
whole
is.
other level. Also, speaking of that, are you guys taking advantage of any AI tools outside of using ChatGPT as a Google to answer your questions? Like, are you utilizing any of
Yeah.
the other tools that are actually more geared towards the business?
Yeah, so we have a couple things in the works that we're trying to develop. I've always thought it'd be so cool to be able to type in the uniform program that you're looking for and have a presentation, automatically generated. When we redid the website, actually, I guess it was 3 or 4 years ago now, we looked at creating at that point it was like code or like this whole big thing, and it was gonna, cost up close to $10,000 just to get that feature. Now you can literally do that with Chat GPT. So yes, we don't, it's super important to me that Smallwoods as a company is not left in the dust when it comes to, different innovations, especially around AI. We're just still trying to figure out what would be the most helpful to our clients in that
Right.
regard.
Yeah, no, and I get that. It is a big thing. A lot of people know the AI is here,
Mhm.
obviously, and they want to get involved with it and adding it into their business somehow,
Yeah.
but they just don't. understand how, and you're right. You if you don't get on board with it, you are going to get left behind. And
Yeah.
just, I mean, just like the whole .com revolution when the internet really came about, everybody, well, why do I need to have a website? I don't need a web. Now, if you don't have a website, good luck.
Yeah,
Right. I mean,
exactly.
or even an outdated
Exactly.
one. I mean, there's still people I see out there on websites that look like they were made in the late
Yeah.
90s. Seriously, like,
Yeah.
how do you think people react when they come to your website and they see that? They leave.
Right.
They're not even going to peruse your website at all.
Exactly, exactly. Yeah, especially if that's their first impression, they're not sticking around. But it is I think it's going to be finding the balance because like we were just talking about the importance of that face-to-face and human-to-human interaction,
Right.
that still needs to be there. While I would love for, our customers to go to our website and have some AI feature, I would like to use AI internally in making our processes, smoother. So
That's
it
kind of
makes
what I was referring to. Maybe not so much in the
yeah,
marketing aspect of things, but actually helping, streamline and make certain things within the business more efficient. I mean, even that's just as
definitely.
applicable, right?
Definitely, yeah. I mean, we're looking at, different avenues for AI and, inventory, predictive inventory forecasting to make sure that
Right.
we're never out of stock based on, previous trends and previous sales and things like that. And any kind of automation we can put in the back end. So you, Mr. Customer, are still talking to me, but I'm getting everything done quicker and more efficiently for you. I think that's gonna
Right.
be.
Well, so I mean, kind of on this subject then about what problems can be solved with different tools, whether that's AI or whatever. Um,
Mhm.
what are some of the biggest challenges that your business faces? I mean, you're obviously in the sales department.
Yeah,
I'm sure there's issues whether it comes to sales or in the operations. So you said your brother runs the operations end of things.
he does.
Um,
Yep.
I'm sure you have a bit of insight into that. So what is Smallwoods largest challenges that you guys are facing?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think right now the internal functions of the company are pretty nailed down. We run pretty efficiently. But there of course are difficulties, mostly based around the fact that we have our Smallwoods line, which is our core pieces. But then we are partnered with literally hundreds of different vendors who each have their own inventory, their own shipping times, their own return policies. So anything that's under the Smallwoods immediate umbrella, we have a good handle on, and it runs really smoothly. But we're working with all these different companies who aren't necessarily the same. So hiccups come when it takes a lot of time to find a specific product or confirm availability, or know the return policy, sample policy, all stuff like that. So if there was a way to make that more efficient, uh, if I had a centralized thing where I could type in, I'm looking for a red hoodie, and it pulled all that from the vendors that we work with, something like that would be revolutionary because it's just about saving us time.
Right. Cool.
Mm.
All right. Well, I have just one last kind of fun question I usually ask
Okay,
everybody.
cool.
I mean, it's generally geared towards people who spend a lot of time on the vessels because that's who I've been mostly speaking to. So it's
Hmm.
usually a bit of a two-part question. You can answer one or both or whatever. Just answer however you
Okay.
like. I usually ask one, what's the favorite place you've ever traveled on a yacht or a boat? But if you haven't got too much experience on that end, I'll just take favorite location you've ever traveled to. Uh,
Hmm.
and then the other part of the question is usually most people have been around on these boats for a real long time and various different vessels, so they have a bit of an idea of what their favorite vessel is, or something that kind of sticks in their heart and has a memory attached to it, or even just it was a beautiful vessel and it was just mind blowing. All the just the vessel itself was something that was
Yeah.
just beautiful to them. So you go ahead and
Yeah.
answer that however you like.
Definitely, definitely. Well, like you said, I haven't spent a lot of time cruising around on these vessels. Growing up, my family has always had a boat. We've had a couple, but around 20 to 25 feet. And every summer we go over to the west coast of Florida to Captiva Island. And a couple of times we've done the trip where we take the boat up the east coast through Lake Okeechobee and over that way. And I've done it with, my dad and my siblings, and that has always just been the most incredible experience, especially being a kid and doing that was really cool. And that also is one of my favorite places on earth. It's that just a tiny island life, but just all positive memories for there.
Yeah,
Uh,
I see that. I mean, it sticks with you because it was, enjoyable trip with your family. You made memories, and
yeah.
that's kind of what I was asking, and that's a good answer.
Yeah, well, good. I wish I could say it was on a 160-foot whatever going around, but we'll get there. We'll get there somewhere someday.
Some people love their tenders more than anything.
Listen, right? And then to answer your second question, I have always been obsessed with the boat Bravo Eugenia. Closest I've gotten to being on board is just delivering to them in Miami, but I live down on South Beach, and that boat spends a lot of time at Island Gardens there, and I have always just thought it was aesthetically just stunning. And then to come over the MacArthur Bridge and see people playing basketball on the bow, I've always just thought that what like that's just incredible. So that's I think of all the boats out there, that's been my favorite for a long time for sure.
Cool. Oh,
Yeah.
that's pretty awesome. Saxon, it's been great talking to you. I really enjoyed the conversation we had today. It's a little bit out of the norm, but hey, it all fits in. It connects to the world of things that I've been talking about with various other people, and I thought it was a really good conversation. I'm glad to have met you, and I'm glad to have brought you on. Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks again for taking time out of your day to chat with me.
Definitely. Yeah, that was great. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about my family's business. And yeah, like I said, I'm really excited to follow this along and see who else you speak with, because it's a unique industry, and I bet you'll get some cool people on here.
Well, I appreciate that, and I hope you do follow. And yeah, hopefully I can get a few more people that are interesting to speak with as yourself. So
Yeah, I
um,
appreciate that. Yeah,
yeah, well, like I said, it was really good having you again. Thanks for your time, and guess maybe we'll talk to you again another day.
definitely. Definitely. Sounds good. Thank you.
All right, take care.
Thanks.
Thanks for sailing with us. This has been Portside Perspectives.